And we're back here for game 2. I'm Random Minion Caster, and this is Noxus Division Glacial Inferno versus Vengeful Reapers. Game 1 going the way of Vengeful Reapers in a very aggressively played composition there, just running over Glacial Inferno, ignoring their leads, ignoring their scaling here. And now into game 2, we've got Glacial Inferno going to be on the blue side this game, and Vengeful Reapers on the red side. No change to the rosters here, so everything the same as game 1. So we're going to hop right into picks and bans here. Glacial Inferno banning out the Thresh, Wukong, Katarina, Echo, and Cassiopeia. So their first set of bans similar to their first game 1 here, and really they're not respecting what came out from Vengeful Reapers. Instead, they're saving the Echo and Cassiopeia ban for second phase here from the side of Vengeful Reapers. They've got the Nocturne, Yasuo, Ornn, Olaf, and Orianna. Despite Kamehameha Wave not really finding much success on the Olaf, Vengeful Reaper is still going to ban that one out there. They don't want to have the concern of it potentially reaching their carry. Now in terms of picks, Glacial Inferno going to go with Darius, Jinx, Morgana, Trundle, and that is not a Jace. There was a mistake in the pick and ban. That's a Galio coming out for Glacial Inferno. Had me excited for a moment here. I thought we were going to see NA Jace. But it said it's going to be the Galio here. So completely different lineup here for the side of Glacial Inferno in game 2. The top lane going to be again a Bedrock for them, but instead of that late game skilling, they're going for the Darius. They want some early to mid game power, and that I think is a solid choice from them. With the Trundle, going to be able to chew through a lot of the resistances that we saw coming out of Vengeful Reapers last game, the tankiness they had, and with the Galio as well to sort of reinforce the side waves, get Jez's a hit, get that girl a hit as well, and also a lot of protection for that girl who's going to be on the Jinx this game. So we'll have that late game skilling, and this time with the team to protect her. Hopefully she will have an easier game of it here in game 2. Now in terms of cohesion in this composition, I actually quite like this composition here. It's really it's got a very solid orthodox front to back team fight. They have their tanks who want to go in from the front. They've got the PO, they've got the Enchanter support to try and keep that girl safe as well. So definitely really good for standard team fights, but they do have to be careful for flanks and poke. They're not really good at dealing with poke here. On the side of Vengeful Reapers, we're going to be seeing a very similar draft to game 1. After all, don't fix what ain't broke. They've got themselves the Lucian, they've got themselves the Alistar bot lane there, which is the very, very solid bot lane. And they're going to pick the Mordekaiser this game in the top lane to counter Jesus on that Darius. And we've seen Microthorn play it a lot. We'll now have to see how Jason plays the Mordekaiser there, and if he can stomp and take over games the same way Microthorn has, he's got quite a precedent to live up to here. And in the jungle, the Echo got banned, so they're going with an Amumu for Noise here, and I've got very mixed feelings about this one as well, because Noise, very aggressive, strong ganking jungler. Amumu can be very good at ganks, but he's not quite the same. The mechanical cap isn't there. He's a very safe, solid team fight champion though, and will pair very well with that Swain for Microthorn. And we've seen Swain quite a bit in the support position, but we've not seen it mid lane. And Swain has fallen out of favor quite heavily as a solo laner due to the way his kit works. He just works so much better as a support in a dual lane, but that doesn't mean that he's weak. Swain can still be extremely strong in that solo lane matchup. I just don't know if it'd be good necessarily running into the Galio, who is a magic resistant tank, and we'll have to see how that particular matchup goes as well. So Vengeful Reaper's composition, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. They've got some good team fighting here, but they've also got some good front to back fighting as well. Not so much the poke, but honestly right now, just based on the way the compositions will interact, I think I've got to give this one to Glacial Inferno here for game 2. They've got the Trundle to shred down the Amumu tank there, to shred down JD on the Alistar as well. And with that, their front line is going to be really squishy. That girl might be able to just shred right through that fight. And with a Darius running amok as well, you've got to peel for your carries. And if you're split between trying to protect and trying to attack, only one of those is going to succeed unless you get really far ahead. So once again, Vengeful Reapers, I think, going to be the team who has to make the plays, has to find the leads and sort of the areas to get back into the game here and make sure that they don't give Glacial Inferno too much time to scale up. But we did see in game 1 that they're more than up to the task of doing that. And we now are on to the Rift here. Looking like both teams, again, standard just 5-point defense for now. Nobody really wanting to give too much up here right at level 1 because Glacial Inferno have their backs to a wall. Oh, part of me actually looks like they're gonna invade. Instead, they just drop the ward. They will spot out JD, but they don't want to root JD. They don't want to throw the Dark Binding and catch him because he's one of the tankiest members, has the exhaust as well, and with a potential heal from Drizzle, should be able to get out just fine there. They don't have quite enough CC, so just getting the aggressive wards here on the blue side. And that ward won't be enough to see the buff, so they won't quite be able to tell where Noise is starting necessarily, but they should be able to catch Drizzle and JW rotating back into lane. And one thing I do want to touch on here is Microthorn's the Keystone spell, his masteries here, because Swain is a very interesting champion who can take a lot of different keystones. I've seen him with Grasp of the Undying, with the Electrocute in that bot lane, very common, Dark Harvest as well, and we see Microthorn opting for that Conqueror's Swain. So we'll be going in on those fights, looking to output damage over time in those fights with the ultimate ticking, with the Demonic Ascension, with the Nova there going off as well. So we'll not be able to trade quite as effectively into Windstorm on the Galio, and I think that's going to make his laning phase a little rougher, but the team fighting a little stronger. And we'll have to see if Microthorn will be able to survive the laning phase and the early skirmishes as well. Now if we take a look across the lanes here in the top lane, Mordekaiser versus Darius, we've seen that back and forth a lot. Darius often seeming to get the better of this trade a lot of times. In the mid lane, I am expecting Windstorm to be the one to win this lane here, and I'm expecting a lot of ganks as well into the mid lane early, but we'll see them transitioning into the bot lane. Pardon me, and I think it's going to be the bot lane here where a lot of attention will be focused. Drizzle and JD have shown how aggressive they like to play with the Lucian Alistar combination there, and with the Jinx, that girl just wants to scale up. She doesn't necessarily want to fight here. Oof, and Windstorm playing that beautifully, just barely stepping out of the eye of the Empire there, getting the follow-up damage as well onto Microthorn. Pumping that out. Looked like he was going to get the worst of that trade initially, but we do see Noise here looking for a gank. The minion wave is in his way. They've been attracted, and he's going to get taunted up, and that will allow Windstorm to safely just back off there. So Noise not going to find anything in that gank. And in exchange, we did see Kamehameha looking top instead, but did not find it. Did get the flash at least out of Jason, so might be able to revisit that top lane and look for a kill while that flash is down in the next couple of minutes here, in the next 5 minutes. And I did actually want to talk about that bot lane because I do think this is where the bulk of the action is going to be, with Felix wanting to play safe. And we do see Noise looking down, but Kamehameha right once again in that top side. The flash coming out from Jesus to get the pull, and they're going to be able to get this easy. First blood going the way of Kamehameha wave. Well played from him, revisiting that lane right away after he burnt that flash. And that's going to put Jason in a bit of a hole. Already Darius really strong in that matchup. It's really a very close matchup there. And the flash coming out from Microthorn, he wasn't going to wait around, but that did buy a bit of time for Noise to get in there. Can they get the kill? Probably not. I don't think they have enough damage there. As we said, Microthorn running the Conqueror, so we'll not be able to find it. And now Jez is going after Jason. KB, the bleed and the minions will be enough. Jason's going to die again. 2 deaths in a minute here. He teleported in and just ran it down. That will allow Kamehameha to just rotate into the mid lane, and that's the ganks I expected to see early there into the mid lane. And Microthorn dead, and it's suddenly 3-0 all in favor of Glacial Inferno. They're doing extremely well for themselves here in game 2, and this is a beautiful start. It's only going to get worse because if you get Windstorm a hit, once he hits 6, that heroic entrance means he can look top. He can look to snowball Jesus even further. He can look bottom to try and help that girl out, but that girl not even needing that much help is going fairly even in the lane right now, and JD and Drizzle not able to find quite as many kills as they did with the Black Shield top lane. Jesus might go down. No, a beautiful Q from him to keep him healthy against Noise's gank, and Noise coming up empty once again. And it's not like Vengeful Reapers aren't being proactive. It's not like they're suddenly sitting back here in game 2. They're just not able to find anything here. Jason KB looking for the kill, got turned around. The level lead from Jesus was too much. Noise has been running around, can't find anything either. And JD, root into root. Just taking damage on that pool there, getting poked down. And he can't engage either because of the Black Shield from Phallic Phenom. And Phallic Phenom doing amazingly well here, doing much better this game. Doesn't have to put himself in danger to get the engages, to get the poke down, unlike the Leona. And Kamehameha Wave on the Trundle, just going to run and pick up that Inferno right away here, recognizing that he has an advantage in his lanes. He has his bot lane pushed up mid-wave. Windstorm has the advantage as well, is pushing up as well, and that will allow him to safely take the dragon there. Herald not even spawned yet, so it's not like Vengeful Reapers can answer back, and they don't have vision anyways, so they wouldn't have known that till now. And all his lanes going to be more than happy to get additional damage because all his lanes here looking to get poke or kills down. And now in the top lane, Jez is going after Jason, but he's taking a ton of damage from the minions. Will be able to take it. Did not even have to use the Noxian guillotine there. Just the straight damage and bleed. And Jason dead yet again. 3 deaths here by 6.5 minutes here is 75% of the deaths in the game right now. And Noise in a bit of a difficult spot here. Does he go to reinforce his losing top lane? Or does he just sack it all together? Because if he shows up in the top lane, there's a very, very good chance that Darius gets a double kill for himself as well. And that's one of the things with Mordekaiser's ultimate. It's great when you're ahead. It's great in team fights. It's great out of your laning phase where you can find a target, isolate them. But in a laning phase, in the isolated 1v1, if you're that far behind, dragging somebody to the death realm might mean your own death here. Because you just can't fight that. And we do see him dragging into the death realm there. The minions won't be able to apply damage. Looks like he might have the advantage, but he's still a level down. Will find the shutdown. And suddenly Jason back in the game. Windstorm now the one getting caught out near the dragon area. Not sure what he was doing there. There's nothing to fight for. And JD leading the charge here. As Windstorm now finds himself up a creek with no paddle. Will go over the way of Drizzle. That's probably who they wanted to get it onto there. And Vengeful Reapers finding themselves on the board, finding 2 kills in rapid succession here. That is exactly what they needed to get back into the game. We take a quick look at the gold lead. It's only 1.3 thousand, was actually a bit bigger earlier, looking closer to 1.52k. And I love that seeing that top lane 400 gold apart, jungle as well. Kamehameha Wave able to find himself a lead in the mid lane, 500 gold differential, and in that bot lane surprisingly even. Drizzle getting that kill means that he is going to be able to be very, very even in that bot wave. And like I said, I was expecting the bot lane to be fairly in isolation for the early little bit because Glacial Inferno just going to look to survive. And for the side of Vengeful Reapers, they're going to have difficulty finding ganks. It would be better for Noise to try and supplement his top and mid waves as well. And that does seem to have been the story of the game thus far. Kamehameha has not needed really to gank too much after that initial bit, and allowing him to PvE here, look for the objectives, get the Inferno Drake. Now he's looking at the Herald as well. Will be a little riskier though going for this one. His mid and top are not right now in his dominant position. Instead, he might be looking for a gank in the mid lane, but the Demonic Ascension comes down, as does the Ignite, and they're going to be able to find Windstorm here. Noise going to show up, and now Kamehameha Wave has to be careful. He's going to burn down the Conquerors there, doing work. with all those damage over time abilities, with the consistent output from Microthorn's Demonic Ascension, as well as that Q that he can pretty much spam off cooldown, Conqueror is going to do a ton of damage. Now Jez is going for that 1v2, but he might have bitten off a little more than he can chew here. It's going to take a lot of damage. Will get killed before the guillotine goes off. So Noise surviving for now. Will still die to the bleed, but Microthorn looking to get the final kill here. And the heroic entrance coming in will knock out Microthorn. Not going to be enough to stop him from getting the kill, but might be able to get the revenge kill over. And this is an extended 1v1v1 here. Microthorn looking to get out, but the Super Mega Death Rocket comes across. Will not find Microthorn there. He's going to be able to get out just barely. And the kill tally at the end of that one looks a bit like a 2 for 1 potentially at the end of that, or 3 for 2. I don't even know anymore. Or 3 for 1 it looks like at the end of the day, as they even up the score here 5-5. And that's why you can never count Vengeful Reapers out of the game. They always find a way to find kills, constantly looking to get fights. It doesn't matter who they play, whether it's the top of the standings, bottom of the standings, they're looking to kill you either way. And now Windstorm has to be careful. He's really pushed up right now in the bot lane. Drizzle and JD have rotated to the mid lane. A good Justice Punch will get him to safety there. But that roam was also just to zone them out, because the dragon will be spawning in about 10 seconds. It is going to be Cloud Drake here. Jason getting collapsed on in the top lane. Going to use the Nether Realm, but the Noxus Guillotine going to do a lot of damage here. The Bleed going to be able to find the kill, and that's yet another Death Rim, yet another kill for Jesus in the top lane there. But his team going to make good use of that distraction, find themselves the Cloud Drake, and that's going to be cooldown reduction. It's actually going to be massive for them, because with these sort of AoE teamfight teams, with the Swain, with the Amumu, they want access to their ultimate as much as possible. So that 10% cooldown reduction is going to be huge for the side of Vengeful Reapers. And Kamehameha Wave, recognizing that the dragon has gone down, is going to finally go up to that Herald and grab it for himself here. Jason KB going to use that teleport to get into lane immediately. Does not have the Death Realm available, so does have to be careful. Kamehameha Wave coming up as well, but he is doing a lot of damage here. Has the Haunting Guys, and Jez is able to heal up off his Q, off the Conqueror stack. Might not have wanted to go back in there. That greed possibly could have cost, well, did cost him his life. And now Jason KB finally, yeah, it was Jason KB, pardon me, finally going down there against Kamehameha Wave, but he bought so much time. Kamehameha going to drop the Herald there, knowing that Jason's dead and has no teleport available this time. And mid lane, Microthorn on that Swain, able to find Windstorm again. I thought Galio would win that matchup, but it looks like I'm completely wrong here, because it's Microthorn dominating the mid lane instead. Flash is coming out from JD to try and keep him alive, as that girl and Felic finding the damage right now. And for the side of Glacial Inferno right now, they kind of have to sacrifice that mid lane. If Windstorm can't handle him, Kamehameha is not going to be of much help either. Trundle, great at chewing through traditional tanks, meaning if you've got health, if you've got resistances, Trundle will be happy to meet you. But Microthorn on the Swain, that's not a traditional tank. A lot of his tankiness comes from effective health, from that spell vamp, from that healing in his kit. So they need to find some way. There needs to be an Executioner's Calling, a Thornmill, a Bramble Vest, or Morelos coming out from the side of Glacial Inferno if they want to be able to play around the mid lane at all right now. And most likely, Glacial Inferno's bot lane isn't going to want to leave their lane, isn't going to want to help anybody else. They just want to keep farming and scaling up here. Because we've seen late game Jinx carry game after game, and if there's no assassin on the enemy team, a long-ranged AD carry like Jinx is one of the most terrifying things they can run themselves into. And unfortunately for the side of Vengeful Reapers, the only way they really have of killing that Jinx is either Noise somehow finds a flank, which would mean that he's not getting that 5-man initiate, or Jason KB has to get in range to bring Jinx into the Death Realm, and even that's kind of dicey there, depending on how fed that girl might be and how far behind Jason might be. And the taunt coming down, the full combo from Windstorm here, doing a lot of work, but he's gonna turn on the Demonic Ascension, go golden, and start healing himself up as well, and that will leave Kame low on health there. He's the one who initiated that, but he doesn't want a part of this. And sitting among the minion wave, Microthorn is going to be able to heal up there. And that's going to happen every time once the Zonius is completed. Right now, he's just sitting on the stopwatch there, so that's only going to work this time. But we'll have to see if Kamehameha can get a repeat gank before Microthorn builds himself a Zonius Hourglass. And Noise thinking he's being sneaky into the bush here, but unfortunately there was a ward in this other bush, and so he'll get spotted out. Jade, that girl and Felix going to be able to play safe. Top lane, we see the first turret go down, and it's going to go down in favor of Glacial Inferno. And this actually is not necessarily bad news for them, because Jason has been struggling a little bit in that lane right now. Having his turret goes down means that he can play a bit more defensively, hug his inner turret a bit. He does have to teleport, which Jesus doesn't, so can still farm that up, push it out, and then teleport to another lane or roam somewhere else to try and find kills, try and find a farm in other lanes where he's not going to be quite as exposed as that top lane. But he does have to be careful. Kamehameha is behind him right now. Thankfully for him, Jesus is in the mid lane for some reason. Potentially looking to try and force something in that mid lane. No, they're going to lane swap, it looks like. But we see Microthorn responding as well. They're going to spot each other in the river. Microthorn has to be careful. He's out of mana here. Might potentially get collapse onto the taunt, comes down, the stun does not land. Kamehameha coming in, Jesus there to back him up. They're going to root up Jesus, but that's not going to be the target they wanted. Microthorn gonna go down here, shut down, 200 gold going the way of Windstorm. Well, I did say Microthorn was going to be a thorn in their flesh in that mid lane there, just kind of a nail blocking off their plays through the middle of the map. That's only in equal numbers. When he gets collapsed on 1v3, there's absolutely nothing really he can do there. Just too much damage coming out. And that's going to be really bad as it unlocks Jesus here to continue pushing the mid wave. Noise is going to have to respond to that, and that's going to mean Dragon, the Ocean Drake, going the way of Glacial Inferno. But in the top lane, Jason having a much better time of it against Windstorm here, able to drag him into the Death Realm, apply the damage, and there we go. It's 3-5-0. He's starting to be able to find himself some kills here. Noise gonna meet Jesus in the jungle. That's a level lead for Jesus. The Ignite gonna come out really early here to stop any healing. The Noxian Guillotine coming down, and they find themselves a kill here. Now he's going on to Microthorn, and Microthorn doesn't have any armor. Double kill as the dunks come down from Jesus. And Phallic Phenom, JD, just gonna walk side by side, enjoying a little stroll by the river there, until Jesus shows up and completely just wrecks this fight. And we see JD going down to yet another dunk. That's 3 in a row. Can he make it 4? Maybe, because Jason KB just ran into the middle of potentially 4 people there. Fairly goes golden, buys time. That's dunk 4. Very, very delayed, broken up quadra kill for Jesus here. And he suddenly goes 8-3-2. The man is incredibly fed. The team is up about 3,000 gold, and the bulk of that, almost all of that, is sitting on Jesus in that top lane right now. And I think after this game, there's going to be questions on the side of Vengeful Reapers if they should ever let Jason play Mordekaiser again, especially recriminations from Microthorn, as we normally see Microthorn in the top lane being the one to get all of the kills to dominate on that Mordekaiser. To see him 3-6-0, well, to be fair, he's at least got 3 kills. That's the highest tied with Microthorn on his team. The problem is he's also got 6 deaths, highest bar none on his team. And Jez is with that incredible lead, able to just shove down the mid lane, finding the outer turret for himself as well. And that's 2 turrets down on the side of Vengeful Reapers. Potentially a third one, as they're going to be able to take up the Herald here. But it's going to be Noise getting caught out by Jesus once again. The route to pull him back will not be able to stop the dunk. And 9-3-2, and the count just keeps going up here for Jesus. Glacial Inferno able to find the Herald as well for themselves. There's only 1 standing outer turret right now, but it's low enough that they won't likely need to use the Herald. They can probably hold it and use it in the mid lane, crack that mid lane inner turret, as we see all of them grouping up here. But Jesus is basing, does not have teleport, so for now it looks like Glacial Inferno will have to stop their push. Instead, they're looking for that isolated member. Jason KB does not realize he's about to get ganked. That's 4 men going for him there. He's going to death round Phallic Phenom, but Phallic Phenom has Zonias. That's not the target necessarily you want to find. Phallic goes golden, and Jason comes out of the nether realm. A good flash though, dodging out the damage that he might be able to find Phallic Phenom. He does. Super Mega Death Rocket comes across. Will not get the kill though, and he's bought time. Microthorn has arrived. JD has arrived. They might be able to turn this. They trade 1 for 2 here. They get Phallic Phenom. They get Kamehameha Wave. And I take that back. Jason with the hero play there. The martyr play, pardon me, as he manages to stall long enough for his team to come in and pick up Kamehameha Wave. We see the flash being forced out of that girl as well. And Vengeful Reapers firing back using Jason as bait. But Jez is on the other side of the map. Might not have teleport. That's not going to stop him from split pushing. Finds the last outer turret here, and if you trade a kill for a turret, the turret is more worth it any day here. And right now they do have to be careful. They have no way of answering Jez here. Jez can go on anybody he wants. Doesn't care if he gets the cow. Will look for yet another gank. Yeah, apparently can milk those. You just need a muscular enough man here, fed enough Darius, and he can indeed kill JD. And they're going to drop the Herald here in the mid lane. Feel like they're strong enough. The Dark Binding lands the pull as well, and that's going to see Microthorn dead. The dunk won't kill him, but the auto will. And that's going to be the mid lane inner turret going down. The gold lead ballooning up to 5k here. The culling coming out from Drizzle just to clear out the minions, but it will not be able to stop Shelly. Shelly's still going to get that one last charge off. And we're going to see the inhibitor turret in that mid lane taken very, very low right now. Meanwhile, Windstorm going to keep split pushing the top lane. Does not have heroic entrance, does not have teleport available either. But looking like they might not need it for now. 4v4, or pardon me, 3v2 in the mid lane, as they're looking to potentially collapse on Windstorm in a repeat of what we saw a moment ago when it was Glacial Inferno doing the collapse onto Jason KB. And they're clearing out the vision right now. There's not a lot of vision for the side of Vengeful Reapers, and it shows right now it's JD getting caught out, has to use the Unbreakable Will to survive. They've only really got the pink ward here, and that's going to be cleared out momentarily. And Noise is going to go start up that Ocean Drake, see if they can sneak it here. And there's no vision at all from the side of Glacial Inferno. They are going to head down towards it because they want it, but Jason and Noise here desperately trying to pump out the damage. Can they do it? It looks like they will be able to secure it, but they might do it at the cost of their lives, as Jason getting hit by the Dark Binding here. Soul Shackle is coming across, will be able to catch both Noise and Jason KB. Windstorm going to get dragged into the Death Realm here. But it's on Windstorm, and Windstorm is the MR tank. Instead, we're going to see Noise go down first as the dunk comes down. Jason will have to run away. Can he make it? Yes, he can. The Eye of the Empire are going to come down and apply the slow, and Jason able to survive. It's going to be Noise instead, but Noise for Dragon, potentially worth it. Jason might have stuck around a little bit too long. Does get hit by yet another binding here, but the pool not going to phase him too much. Instead, it's more that he's got to be careful for that grow, and Kamehameha pushing up the bot wave right now. They're looking for that inner bot lane turret here. And it looks like they will be able to get it because Jason alone will not be able to do anything. And those dark bindings here are on point. They catch Jason yet again. That's going to be the inner turret in that bot lane. Only one inner turret left for the side of Vengeful Reapers, and that's in the top lane there. We see Jez is already rotating right up there. He's got his eyes set on that turret, so Vengeful Reapers might not be able to save that turret for very long here. And normally, if you're the side of Vengeful Reapers, what you kind of need right now is just to stall out a little bit. Yes, they have a Jinx hypercarry. You need to sort of catch the isolated targets, find them and kill them on their own. But unfortunately, with the way Vengeful Reapers plays, they're much more likely to force a full 5v5 or 4v4 here. And that will not end well for them because they need to find a way into the backline. Somebody needs to flank. Whether it be Microthorn, Noise, Jason, Drizzle, somebody needs to get and kill that girl. She's 0-0 and 5, and the scoreline might not look impressive, but she's got a Hurricane and an IE already completed here. Not to mention, if you look at her gold, she's not that far behind Drizzle, who's the richest player on his team there, ahead of most of the players on the side of Glacial Inferno as well. And that's not even talking about the monster that is Jez's, because they can't handle him right now. They need 3 men to kill Jez's. Sending 2 is potentially just going to give him a double kill. And they've started this up here. They've got the vision to know that Vengeful Reapers has none. They see Drizzle in the mid lane. They saw Microthorn in the bot lane, and Microthorn does not have teleport. This is going to be a free Baron for the side of Glacial Inferno. And Kamehameha Wave has been on point with the objectives this game, rotating, focusing heavily onto those objectives. Yes, he gave up 2 Drakes, but to be fair, one of them they were pushing, and the other, he had no vision, was taking Herald instead at that point in time. And his pillars too, those early ganks certainly set the tone. Got Jez's ahead, got Windstorm ahead as well. I say ahead, but Windstorm ended up throwing that lead in the mid lane. But there definitely did help out his team quite a bit in the early game here. And now his job is just to provide that peel for that growth, to soften up the tanks of Noise here, and potentially Jason, KB as well, and maybe JD. And Vengeful Reapers has to mount an incredible defense here against the Baroned up 5 of Glacial Inferno. Looks like they're going for that 4-1 split push right now. They really want that the inhibitor turret in the mid lane, which is already fairly low from the previous push. With a Jinx, with super minions, this could very quickly go down. They can happily leave Jez's in that top lane to split push that top turret there. It's an inner turret. It is a little exposed, or they could just rotate straight to it there. The top side of the map is the Oyster here. Noise engaging in. Beautiful. Curse of the Sand Mummy will find 3. And they do manage to find that Grow. That Grow going down. Micro getting a double kill. Gonna keep on going. Drizzle finding one for himself as well. As Phallic Phenom comes out of Golden. Kamehameha Wave will not be able to escape here. Jason gonna be the one to find the kill. But they've left Jez unattended. Jez is gonna be able to at least find a turret here for themselves. And that was a beautiful fight from VGR. I repent of questioning their 5v5, 4v4 tendencies here, because they still managed to pull out a fight. A beautiful flash bandage toss from Noise, catching onto Phallic Phenom, and there's the burst coming out of them there onto that Grow. This is what they need to do time after time. If they can find that Grow, it doesn't matter how many items she has, how much damage she can put out, if she gets melted before the fight starts properly. And with that, Vengeful Reapers will be able to pick up their first turret of the game at 27 minutes here. Finally getting themselves a bit of that brick gold, and they're going to rotate straight over to that Ocean Drake as well. It will be spawning in about 5 seconds. Has to be careful though, because all of Glacial Inferno is up right now, and the ultimates from Noise and Microthorn not yet back up. They won't want to fight this without those key ultimates here. And unfortunately, Noise getting caught out. Still no Curse of the Sand Mummy. Jesus is onto him, and he might go down. The dunks might start, but he dunked the wrong person. He dunked Jason KB. They will get the kill on Noise, but the dunks will not reset. They don't need it though. The damage from that Grow. She's in the back. She's able to put up. She's got a double kill, looking for a triple onto Microthorn. Gonna get stolen away from Phallic Phenom, but still, that's a 4-0. Drizzle wanting no part of that. Backed out really early in that fight, and that's the problem with Lucian. He's a close-ranged AD carry, more of a spell slinger than a constant damage outputter. And so he can't get too close, because the CC there would have seen him dead, and that's going to allow Glacial Inferno to just push down, finally get that inhibitor turret that they've been wanting for so long, potentially get that inhibitor as well. The question right now is, are they going to keep pushing on? Because Microthorn will be up in 10 seconds. Jason as well. And no, they're going to opt back out because they know Noise is spawning. Pardon me, Microthorn is spawning soon. Does not have the Demonic Ascension right now, but still is definitely a huge threat to them going, being one of the most fed members on his team. And Drizzle right now is the most fed member of his team, so does have to sort of get himself into these fights. He's 3-0-2 right now, has not died, but part of that's also because he's been cutting around the edges of the fight. As soon as the fight looks like it's going south, he starts running, and the time he spent running is the time he's not spent putting damage out in these fights. So going to be really rough for him. And if anything, I actually think they should send Drizzle to try and flank and catch that girl, because he's certainly not going to be able to fight that front to back fight there. He'll have to be in too close a range of Jez's, of Windstorm, and of Kamehameha Wave. And with that pillar, with the taunt, with the heroic punch, and with the hook, just too many dangers there for Drizzle. He has to play it to perfection to survive. And now that girl able to pick herself up the Quicksilver Sash, gonna pay that Mordekaiser tax, and that's going to be a problem here, because now the options to deal with her have reduced even further now. If Noise gets a beautiful Curse of the Sad Mummy, she can just pop QSS and run away as well. Jason can no longer drag her into the Death Realm. And it just makes it that much more difficult to catch the Jinx, and we already saw the double kill coming out of that girl in the last fight. Is a harbinger of things to come here. So Vengeful Reapers needing to find a couple of fights now and claw their way back into the game. The longer they wait, the worse it is. And normally I'm not a proponent of picking fights for no reason, but Vengeful right now have shown their ability to win these random 5v5, 4v4. So if they have the ability to do that, they need to keep picking them and getting onto that girl, as well as bursting Jez's down there. But Glacial Inferno is not giving them that opportunity. The Baron is an objective here that they need to keep an eye on, but that Windstorm as well, able to just run to that bot lane and push it out. They have the ability to use the teleport, to use the heroic entrance, so they can just keep sending Windstorm to split push. Noise using the bandage toss well to get himself out of a sticky situation there. Jezz can 1v1 anybody right now, so you can't afford to let yourself get hooked, because you don't know if the rest of the team is going to be waiting around the bush. And with the Super Mega Death Rocket as well, that girl doesn't even need to be nearby to pump out damage in these fights. Baron is going to be the objective here. JD going to be the one caught up. The Unbreakable will. Culling going to come across as well, but Jezz is more than happy to tank that one up. And Noise looking for that girl. They've abandoned that girl once again. The QSS comes out. Gonna have to flash the way back out, but it's Jezz going nuts in the back. He found Drizzle, he found JD, and now they're looking for Microthorn. Can they find him? The kill coming down to Phallic Phenom as he comes out of the Zonia's Hourglass. Now heroic entrance as well. Jezz is gonna get yet another dunk. Gonna go onto Microthorn. That's yet another double kill. And now it's only Jason KB left alive for his team. And he's tanky enough to have survived the bulk of that fight, but can he get away here? He's gonna be 1v4. No, the hook gonna land, and he's gonna get melted. Ace there from Jezz. I think that might actually have been pretty much a penta, with all the kill credits there going the way of Jezz. It was just so split up. First going up there to kill Drizzle and JD, then coming back down to kill Microthorn and Noise, and they're going for the Nexus here. They've got the Nexus in their sights. They've got the Nexus turrets down. Drizzle is back up, but he's too little, too late, as the Nexus getting shredded down here. Culling coming across will be tanked up, and that's going to be game going to Glacial Inferno. They fire back by a feisty game too. And interestingly enough, it's almost like a complete mirror image of game one here, with Glacial Inferno finding their leads early, with Jezz able to dominate that top lane there. And Windstorm, surprisingly, 1, 5, and 11 struggled a little bit to sort of get the damage down and find himself kills, but was able to pump out a lot of utility here for himself. And that girl, 2, 1, 11 on the Jinx, having still a very rough time finding CS on the team. And I'm not sure if it's a question of whether Glacial Inferno just refusing to funnel gold into the Jinx, or whether it was a question of that girl just not able to find gold herself for now. But either way, we did see that danger that when you let a Jinx just free fire from the back, despite only having the 2 item spike with the QSS there in that last fight, was dragging Noise and Jason around, and Microthorn as well, able to just keep pumping out the damage, keeping herself alive, and that's even without a lifesteal item as well. And on the side of Vengeful Reapers, I mean, what on earth just went wrong there? Yes, Jason fed a little bit in the beginning, but he came back in the end. He's 6-9-1, but at the end we saw it was Jason surviving, pumping out damage, using Death Realm on priority targets, and it just felt like Drizzle never really managed to get himself into the fight as well. Was the Noise and Microthorn show. As long as their ultimates were up, they stood a chance at winning a fight, but anytime their ultimates were down, they just couldn't do anything, and Drizzle just not able to pump out the damage either here in these fights. 3, 1, and 2. He only participated in 5 of the kills out of 16. Has the lowest KP on his team. JD, his lane partner, still managed to find himself 6 KP as well. So I think a lot of this coming down as well to the draft from Vengeful Reapers. They looked to try and run over in the early game like they did last game, but just wasn't able to find it. I think Drizzle is going to have to look, maybe play a safer, or not say a safer, but a more scaling, more ranged ADC here for himself, because Lucian just not able to get into the fight. And in that top lane, Jason came back on the Mordekaiser, but I think it was a little too late, and Jez is just popping off, just running over everyone as well. I'd like to see Noise on a different jungler, on a more aggressive jungler that can make those plays as well. Not to detract from what he did, like I said, it was the Noise and Microthorn show here for Vengeful Reapers, but just they need to find some way to come back in, and Glacial Inferno seems to have found a solid composition for themselves as well. They'll have to play through that top lane, through the mid lane as well. Bot lane, just stick that girl on a scaling champion. Let Fnatic Phenom just focus on protecting her in lane. Let her scale up, and that seems to be a winning strategy here for the side of Glacial Inferno. And with that, ladies and gents, we are into that game 3. Cue the Silver Scrapes on your own playlist there, because I'm afraid to get DMCA'd, so I can't play it, but definitely very excited to see game 3, and we will be heading to an intermission break. We'll need a bit of time here to set up for game 3, so we'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Let's go, man!